So I'm going to try to avoid as much spoilers as I can, but hey, you know what? There's still going to be spoilers. So yeah, if you don't like that, I don't blame you for clicking away. But I'm going to go ahead and say this. I remember I did a video a while back trying to talk about a game I was hyping. I was really hyped for it. And that was Naruto Connections. And it completely disappointed me. It still had some of the core gameplay of the, Ninja Storm games, but it missed everything to me. And then the whole controversy between AI generated voices and the actual story that was specific for this game was a little poo. It definitely stunk and I didn't like it. And the expectation for Zero, I pre-ordered it the day it was ready to be pre-ordered because I am one of those guys that I will try to give a game a chance based off hype. And I know it's stupid. It can fail quite a lot. And I have to say, Zero did none of that. It met everything. I actually like it. It's perfect. It's the best, I guess, spiritual successor, I guess would be the way to put it, for Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi. Now, if you didn't play those games, they were 3D fighters. 3D arena fighters, pretty good detail, destroyable areas, stuff like that. It was just so cool and really good. And I remember playing with a buddy of mine. We'd play it, for hours. We made up games. We literally played like Link and Ganondorf tag, where if you shot a key blast, you would try to deflect it over and over until you made a mistake and you got hit. Or we would try to do like these certain combos and see if we could ever get out of these combos. We'd work and work and work around trying to perfect the game. And, that was 20 years ago. So I will have to say I am not at that skill level anymore. And there's people definitely younger and way more precise than I am. And I haven't touched the online yet. But I have to say this definitely holds up to like Budokai Tenkaichi standards to me. Now the mechanics, controls, all that is just a little bit different. I'm not gonna lie, but it still plays well. The way I play games is kind of like this. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense to you, so to kind of give you reference, you never see me holding my controller, but sometimes I do this. I don't know if other people do that, but I try to use these fingers for these buttons, so I have access to all my buttons at one time. So yeah, I kind of do some weird stuff with the controls, and it still kind of works well in this. Now, I don't do it the whole time. I hold a controller like this 90% of the time, but if I got to do something a little complicated, I spin around and try to do it that way because it just works. And a lot of controls do all that. You have like R3 for I think it's a certain type of dodge. I did terrible at trying to remember the tutorial. I was just trying to slot through it so I can actually play the actual game. And so I'm going to redo the tutorial. I'm going to replay it. I just kind of played through it and zoomed through it and just see what was, mechanic. And I wanted to see what the graphics look like. I'll go ahead and talk about the graphics. The cell shading is perfect. I think it's cell shading is the, what it's supposed to be called. But basically it makes it look like it's literally the anime. And it does really well with the 3D environments and everything. I have to say that is so spot on. It's still in my top 3 at this point now. Actually, top 3 for Dragon Ball Z games. And it goes in order: Kakarot, Xenoverse 2, and now Zero. And the reason why is because I like 3D fighters. That's, when it comes to Dragon Ball, I like the 3D aspect. So, and it's not the doggone Budokai or, Fighter Z, nothing like that. Those are still good games in their own, respect. But they're just not my games. And I am terrible at them. That's part of the reason why I don't really care for them, is because I'm just bad at those games. I have buddies that are they go to tournaments, they love them, they were hyped up when Fighter was coming out. It's like, oh, dude, this is our answer to Budokai. And I understand why they felt that way, because Zero was the answer to me for Budokai Tenkaichi. When Kakarot came out, that was pretty close enough for me, but it was a, story-driven, not online, you just play as Kakarot, some side characters, and you could pull them in, and then you had, this whole badge system thing for, a grid, and it was really, really extra. Not bad. It's 10 out of 10 for me for a Dragon Ball game. And Xenoverse 2, because there was so much tediousness to it, it was a 9. And I have to say, Zero is fighting for second place. The more I play it, it'll probably, get bumped up. But Xenoverse 2 still, holds good to me because the story was great, gameplay was good. I liked all the character creation and the massive amount of stuff that you could do. I also wanted to address some of the story. The story is cool. It's, it's like with every other one, where you go based off the story main line. It's just, hey, here's the story beats, here's the fights. Cutscenes are really good, but then they got this weird mix where it's cutscene, audio, all that, and then they do a comic book strip looking thing, and then go right back to an actual cutscene. It's kind of jarring. It's a little weird. That's my only complaint, is that just looks weird. It's not that it's bad. It's just, I think aesthetically, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me when they could have just done a whole cutscene. But it doesn't take away from the game. I still like that. Now, there's one aspect I didn't get to touch on yet because I did not pick it. I didn't know that was actually what the choices were. But you can pick basically a entire different timeline. Now, I don't know which TikTok I saw this on, but I was looking through TikTok and YouTube, and I wish I could give them the credit. But basically, here's some of the spoiler for it. You get to actually change the timeline. Now, I don't know at what degree. I don't know if it affects, the branching timeline all the way to the end of the game. It could be you have main timeline and just little bitty side stories where it's like, what if here and a what if here, which is really cool. For instance, some of the examples I saw was instead of you going up against Raditz by itself or Vegeta, I can't remember which one, you could just get the whole gang and just like jump them. And when you do, you win. Like, it's done. You win. I don't know the fight. I don't know how, it plays out. But that's really cool to see the what ifs because as a kid, you'd see these real badass dudes in Dragon Ball Z. And I'm like, why don't they just like go up and beat the shit out of that one guy and then jump to the other guy? They would win every time. But that wasn't the point of the show, obviously. It's supposed to be, they're warriors. They're supposed to have the code of honor where they fight one-on-one. And that's usually like 90% of the show. But they kind of took it and turned it on its head. There's another part where Vegeta, he gets his ass whooped and he's supposed to go back to Frieza, heal. And then that's when like the Namek stuff takes up. And then when he gets out and all that, he, pretty much is addressing it. Well, in this, instead of that, he comes back to Earth. And he tries to team up and like train with Goku to actually go beat Frieza together. Now, the reasoning behind it, I don't know. But still, it's really cool to see a what if. There was another thing where they're on Namek, and instead of Goku waiting and arriving late, he's there on time, and Vegeta done beat the shit out of everybody in his Super Saiyan. So he actually becomes like the badass. That stuff I think's cool for this game because, like I said, I'm a Vegeta fan, okay? I don't know if you ever seen me stream, stuff like that. I'm a huge Vegeta fan. When I run across statues or figures, I try to buy them up like an absolute man-child. In fact, here recently, just last week, when I was actually going grocery shopping, I ran across 2 action figures that I have never had, which was Vegeta Super Saiyan 4 and Majin Vegeta, because I forgot I had the Majin Vegeta statue. So, yeah, I got 2 Majin Vegetas, which is fantastic. No, it's not a huge collection, but it's still a collection of the Vegetas I like, and that's pretty much the only thing I'll like order on Amazon, or if I see it in town, I'll probably pick up something that involves Vegeta. He's been my like long-time favorite because I just like how mean and unforgiving he can be. Even as a good guy, he's still like, yeah, fuck everybody else. I'm still Vegeta, and I will prove to you, and then he'll get his ass whooped. But still, I still like him. I don't know why. Now, the controls. Like I said, they're a little rough to get into, at least for me. Now, I'm not saying they're bad. They're not bad. There just was a learning curve because they've swapped out a few things that were certain abilities, like, and I'm getting used to, there's a number on the side of the screen that is supposed to be for, like, these 2 abilities, and I don't know how you build it yet because I did not, pay enough attention. Like I said, I'm going to replay to really get into all the deeper mechanics, because another thing that is involved is also, like, nobody's on the same playing field. Okay, if you played, I think Xenoverse 2 was the closest to it, where they have the power leveling system to it. So, like, if you play as a low-level character, Cyberman, and then you play as Ultra Instinct Goku, that fight's going to be one-sided. But say you play it on, I don't know, any other game, they're going to balance it out and try to make it as balanced as possible. The only one that didn't do that to a certain degree was, like, Xenoverse 2. You could do, like, base Krillin and then go fight Ultra Instinct, and Krillin would probably get his ass kicked 99% of the time, PvP. And that's how this game's supposed to be. So basically, if you have Hercule, and like I said, Goku of whatever level you want him, he's going to obliterate the shit out of Hercule, and that's good. That means if you try to, say, PvP, you have to actually be skilled. Now, me and a buddy at work were talking about it. He's waiting on the DLC. I could care less because I know it's going to come, and I already have it ready. I'm going to buy it because I will say Dragon Ball games, at least the recent generation ones, all the DLCs have always, been really good. I have not disliked a single one, even the smallest ones. Xenoverse 2 still, at least this year, was dropping content, and I can only imagine with these what-if scenarios coming from this, will probably carry over, and I'm hoping Xenoverse 2 will probably pop out a little extra content from this, because I'm going to tell you, with all the what if scenarios and this, that, and the other. I mean, you're looking at a game that has hours of replayability. There's some customization to it, which is fantastic to see. And I'm still kind of tinkering with everything. Like I said, it hasn't been out long. I did not have time to play. I played it for a couple of hours yesterday, got on Call of Duty, and I went to bed after like an hour. Like I literally played it when I got home a little bit after doing a video, and then went to bed. And today, I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to go try to tinker with it a little bit more. But this weekend, when I'm not streaming, I'm going to try to tinker with it a whole lot more. But yeah, guys, this is like the game I've been waiting on most of the year. It was my most excited way to end of the year was to play this. I've had a few other games. I've, pre-ordered a few things here and there that were, I'm not as excited about. They're good games. I just was like, oh yeah, they're going to come. I'm going to play them. I'm going to enjoy it. And then I'm going to go to the next one. Dragon Ball Z was the game I was waiting on all year. As soon as I heard the announcement, as soon as I heard this is supposed to be comparable to Budokai Tenkaichi, like I said, that was my most favorite of all the Dragon Ball Z games up until Kakarot came out. And Xenoverse 2 was just like really good for what it is. So comparable, this may beat Xenoverse 2 to me. That's to be seen, but as of right now, I'm just enjoying what I got, and I'm glad we got it. But yeah, that's about all I got to say. Y'all have a good one.